this was UFC. I was going to be in the room. Like, have you ever hung out with a UFC fighter after a UFC fight? Me neither now. Me fucking neither. And I'm crushed. I am absolutely crushed to have to send this text that says I'm not going to make it. And it hurts me because of the opportunities that I'm missing. But like, I felt really bad that I let Sean down. Sean was the from Black Diamond. He's the guy that organized this whole thing. I felt like I let him down. And like I was I was not an integral part of this thing in any way, shape, or form. Like me not being there changed nothing in my perspective of his experience or the experience of anybody else there. I mean, I guess we'll never know now, but I felt like I let him down. Like, hey, I told him I was going to do this thing and I didn't do the thing. What the hell's going on out here? All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Spite. As always, I am your host, Dr. James Taylor. Oh man, let's get into it. To steal a line from my wife, your girl's been going through it, if you will. So I have got a story for you. This will probably be a two-parter, might be a three-parter. We'll see how much I flourish the language, for lack of a better word. How much yeah, whatever. How detailed I get, how into it I get. Shit, how off topic I get. So I've got my tablet. I've got my coffee, got my James as he sips, and I've got an outline. Let's get into it. So, fueled by spite. What it's spiteful, right? It is a stage for others to share their experiences, share their stories, share their victories. Victories in business, victories in self, victories in growth. So, when I say your boy's been going through it, your boy's been going through some growth. If you remember back a bunch of episodes, back when this thing first started, this started right after the office flooded. And in the initial stages of repair, man, I was sleeping a lot. I wasn't working out. Getting out of bed was increasingly difficult with every single day. Not because like, oh, I've got to get up and not consciously because I had to get up and face the world, but just the physical act of uprighting my body, going from horizontal to vertical, was an absolute struggle. And I had said something to it about my wife one day. I'm like, man, I'm just really tired lately. And it doesn't make sense because, well, maybe it makes sense because normally when I'm seeing all these patients, I'm, walking all over the place, all over the office, and I get little respites in between patients where I might sit. But when I'm remodeling an office, well, honey, I'm moving around more. It's weird. I never thought about how little I truly moved around when I was adjusting all these patients. But when I'm fixing this office, I'm taking more steps. And like she gives a little laugh, a little sigh like I just did, kind of rolls her eyes. Oh, honey, it's you think you're tired because you're taking more steps. Well, yeah, of course. No, you're and these are my words, not hers. Basically you're rebuilding your office. You're going through a lot of emotion right now. No, I'm not, dear. I'm just taking more steps. So, your boy has been going through it. Your boy's been taking some steps lately. Let me share with you a story of the past 2 weeks ish, 3 weeks. I don't know, whatever. So, a few weeks back, UFC 303, 306, one of them, happening in Vegas. So I am going out to Vegas to catch the fight, and I'm going out there with some friends, with some associates, and with a coach of mine, Sean Dill and Black Diamond Club. If you followed along on the socials, I like to keep a super tight travel schedule. So my flight is leaving at 12:51 on Friday. I see patients until 12. So to give myself a little bit of breathing room, I see my last patient at 11:30. I throw all my stuff together. I fly over to the airport and I'm on the plane. And again, if you follow on the socials, the plane is just wheels up, and I have got a nice glass of Woodford and Canada Dry in front of me. So my typical drink, my go-to, if you will, is an Irish Mule, which is ginger beer and Jameson. On the airplane, Woodford is readily available, at least on American, and they don't have ginger beer, but they have ginger ale. So Canada Dry and Woodford, and that is on my tray table shortly after Wheels Up, and I knock out a good number of those on the way to Vegas, and we land, and I don't even entirely recall, excuse me, the process, but we land. I catch a cab or an Uber. I go to the hotel. My hotel in Vegas is the Alara. I love the Alara because it's casino adjacent. It's not a casino. I don't want to have to go through all the stuff to get to my room, but it's connected to Planet Hollywood, I think. I don't even remember. Whatever. It's connected to casino. So anyway, I land. I've got a good number of Woodfords in me. I take the Uber to my hotel. I take it to the Alara. I go there. I check in, get my stuff situated and set up, and then we go out on the town. And I go out and I meet him for dinner. Some Mexican place, delicious food. Kind of talk about the layout for the weekend. This is Friday afternoon, so we're all gonna, after this late lunch, early dinner, we're all gonna go our separate ways, and we're gonna convene back at some place, the Cosmo, I think, um, later. So we do that. We eat. We go off, chill, do whatever. Come back to the Cosmo. Again, don't quote me on that part. And we go back. There's a cigar lounge, a cigar patio. It's me, Sean Dill, Justin Mosley, a few other people. We're sitting there, we're chatting. Guest of honor is there, Mr. Michael Chandler. Side note, I'd met him in the past. Met him at a mastermind, and one of my wife's funnier stories, and I completely approve of this message. My wife, Tamika, her hair's name is Stella. It's got its own personality, and its personality, her personality influences her. The hair's personality influences Tamika's personality, unabashedly so. And I was talking to somebody at this mastermind about Tamika's hair. Earlier in that mastermind, Tamika had talked about her hair and how she named it Stella. So I'm talking to this person and I say something about Tamika's hair. And from across the room, Michael Chandler's head pops out, yells across the whole hallway, across the room. Her name is Stella. Put some respect on it. So great story. Flashback forward to present time. We're on the patio. Um, Michael Chandler's there. He walks up. I go to shake my hand. He puts his arms up, gives me a hug. I'm like, hey, that's awesome, man. Like, hey, I didn't know if you would remember me. I'm Stella's husband. And he goes, of course I remember you. Tell Stella I said hi. So we spend the evening chatting, reminiscing, just whatever. It's the night before UFC. Chandler's not fighting, but there's an announcement that's going to be made. And the night ends relatively uneventfully. I actually dip out a little earlier than everybody else. I am a master of the Irish goodbye, which is I just fucking leave. Like I'd attempted to leave, so it's Friday. I woke up at my regular 4 a.m., got my workout in, adjusted people, flew to Vegas, had a few drinks. Drinks or alcohol is a depressant, so I'm getting kind of sleepy. It's getting late in the evening. It's 11 or 12 Vegas time, which is West Coast. So it's 2 a.m. my body time. And I try to leave and I'm like, hey, I'm going to head out. And Sean's like, what now? You can't head out now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then maybe I stay around for like another half an hour and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I go home and I go to bed. Saturday, I wake up and a little worse for wear. Not the worst I've been by any stretch of the imagination, but a little worse for wear. So my go-to ever since college has been just Chinese food, just gross, greasy, MSG laden Chinese food. So I'd get a car in Vegas. I didn't this time. I got an Uber or a Lyft or a cab or something. So I just hop on my phone, closest Chinese food place. Nothing looks incredibly appetizing. So I just go out and, hey, I'm going to go for a walk. And I go and I'm walking around the hotel and I'm walking around the casino. And the only Chinese food place that I find is Panda Express. So it's fine. I mean, I'll take what I can get. Beggars can't be choosers, right? So I inhale the Panda Express, go back up to my hotel room, and slightly better, but certainly not great. I'm like, no, I'm going to go get a workout in. I'm going to go sweat some of this stuff out. So I go get a workout in, sweat some of the stuff out, come up, take a shower, feeling pretty good. And text them, hey guys, we're going to meet at such and such hotel, um, the Venetian at 4:30. Sweet, perfect. Got my gown on, going to the Venetian, and I'm walking to the bar where we're going to meet. And for whatever reason, and man, I do not know why, I reach in my back pocket, I grab my wallet. I'm like, shit, my ID isn't here. It's weird. So text, hey guys, I got to run back to the hotel. My ID isn't in my wallet for some reason. So I go back to the hotel. Oh, I'll meet you at the Sphere. So I go back to the hotel, and this thing is invisible. It is impossible to find. I eventually find it like between the couch cushions, between like in the couch for some reason. After like the eighth time of looking, and so I get my stuff all on, and I'm like, hey, get in a cab. I'll catch you guys at the Sphere. I hop in the cab, and there's my driver's from Ethiopia, I believe, or Ecuador, somewhere not America. And he's making small talk, and he is ecstatic. He is the life of the cab because this was Saturday. 2 days prior, he just passed his citizenship test. He is going to be an official citizen of the United States of America. And understandably so, the guy is elated. He's stoked. He's quizzing me. He's apparently the citizenship test is only 24. I say only. It's only 24 questions, but he's talking about like he went through like this 6-year process. He went through all of these hoops, filled out all the paperwork, finally got a chance to sit down for the test. You're allowed to miss, I believe, 4 questions. He missed 1. I don't remember the one that he missed. But so it's like, hey, if the president dies, excuse me, and the vice president dies, who's the president? I'm like, Speaker of the House. He's like, what do the 13 stripes mean? I'm like, 13 colonies. What do the 50 stars mean? 50 states. And just peppering with questions. And he's looking up in the rear view, obviously, because I'm in the back seat. And the car in front of us stops. And again, I am not faulting him. This guy is sharing this incredible milestone in his life with me. He wasn't paying attention to the road. So the car in front of us stops. He stops, and I've got a drink in my hand and spill it when he stops. Like shit, dude. Like I'm going to the fight. I'm going to the Sphere. I'm hanging out with Michael Chandler. Like this first time you have like I'm going to be around people. If you caught some previous episodes or even some after hours live from the office here, I did a couple talks recently about being in the room, right? Like, dude, I'm going to be in the room, and you just made me spill on myself. Like, hey, we got to go back. I got to change. So text the guys, hey, Cabby just made me spill on myself. I got to run back to the hotel and change. And I hate sending this text alone because I'm like, I know what they're thinking. Like this fucking guy, like get your shit together. I'm trying. So we go back to the hotel, and I'm changing, and I've got still this slight hangovery kind of thing. I've got this bubble gut going on. Like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I sit down in the bathroom in my hotel room, and that is where I spend the rest of the night. I flew to Vegas to go to UFC with a UFC fighter and with some influential people. I was going to be in the room. And the only room that I am currently in is the bathroom. And I miss the entire night. First time I get up from the toilet and I cinch my belt up and my stomach goes, nope, sit right back down. So I miss the entire event. I miss the possible connections. I miss the experience. I mean, if you guys go to Vegas, see if there's something going on at the Sphere. I caught a show there once. I caught U2 there. I'm not a U2 fan. I could not care less. Could not care less. I might know 3 songs, but it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to, and I didn't even like the band because the venue was amazing. And this was gonna be my second opportunity. This was UFC. I was going to be in the room. Like, have you ever hung out with a UFC fighter after a UFC fight? Me neither now. Me fucking neither. And I'm crushed. I am absolutely crushed to have to send this text that says I'm not going to make it. And it hurts me because of the opportunities that I'm missing, but like I felt really bad that I let Sean down. Sean was the from Black Diamond. He's the guy that organized this whole thing. I felt like I let him down. And like I was I was not an integral part of this thing in any way, shape, or form. Like me not being there changed nothing in my perspective of his experience or the experience of anybody else there. I mean, I guess we'll never know now, but I felt like I let him down. Like, hey, I told him I was going to do this thing and I didn't do the thing. So my next step, like, man, the next thing I don't want to happen is I don't want to feel like shit on the plane on the way home. My flight was supposed to leave at 8 and I rescheduled it to 9. There's another flight leaving an hour later. I'm like, that'll give me plenty of time. And fast forward, and I'm in the airport and I'm sitting at my gate as my original my original flight was boarding. Excuse me. And sitting there like, what an absolute waste of time for me to reschedule my flight because I am here right now as my original flight is boarding so I could go home. I could be on my way home right now, but I have to wait another hour because I changed this flight. And I thought I thought I made the right decision and I didn't. And I'm just upset. Again, still some more for another reason. I'm piling on myself. So fly back home. During this whole thing, uh, Tamika was out. She was out coaching another office. And then she flew from that office in South Carolina to Naples to hang out with Sean's wife, Lacey. And so they're doing girl things and whatever. And so we meet up back home. So because I moved my flight, I was able to basically catch her at the airport more or less. And one of our go-tos in getting back home is stopping at taco place. So we meet at taco place, and she is rough. Her and Lacey had a time. She is in rough shape, and she'll be the first to admit it. So I don't feel bad sharing this, but we're going to taco place, and we're sharing our weekends. And she shares with me a bit about she was coaching a female office. Like everybody in there was a lady. And she talks about um love languages in her trainings. Love languages, strength finders, enneagram. I mean it's a whole thing. And if you have an office with a staff, you need her in your office. Like you need her. You absolutely need her because there's not a single coaching program. She's not a coach, she's a consultant, but there's not a single coaching program that does what she does. And she will help any office, regardless of the specialty, run better. But so she's going over her stuff with these 4 females, and one of them, her love language is physical touch. And she's like, and I don't understand it. Like, my love language is physical touch, but I hate being touched. She's also newly married and a new mother. And just beautiful insight. She goes, no, you don't hate physical touch. You don't hate being touched, even though that's your love language. You hate the need of people to be touched. You don't like your husband. Your husband needs physical touch because he's a man. You don't like to give that because it's a need. You want physical touch that is unneeded. You know, you don't resent your baby, but like, you know, you feel touched out as a mom because your baby needs physical touch. But if one of your staff members were to come in and say, hey, you're doing great. Can I give you a hug? You would absolutely love that. And she's like, oh. And even myself, like as I'm sitting there and she's telling me this, I'm like, wow, that's a wonderful differentiation. That makes a whole lot of sense. And like my thing, like I'm a quality time person, but man, there are sometimes when patients take up too much of my time. I'm like, why are you still asking me questions? Well, because it's a need. They need to ask me questions because they have stuff they want to figure out. But I see that quality time of theirs as a need. It's not a quality time that is my quality time. It's quality time that's their quality time. I'm like, okay, it's an interesting juxtaposition that I have not figured out before. So I've got that. I've got this absolute debacle that was this Vegas trip. And these thoughts are just kind of going back and forth in my head. Okay, there's differentiations in these love languages, these things that we want, or these things that are wanted from us. They can be the same thing on the surface, but in their display, man, they can be taken entirely differently. And it's hard for my feeble male brain to figure out. My uneducated in this particular realm brain to figure out. So what do I do? Uh, I just let it marinate. Okay, well, can't figure it out now, so let's just let it sit. And then I wake up, or I go to sleep. I wake up. It is now Monday. I go work out, and when I'm working out, I don't work out with headphones. And the guy that I was supposed to work out with didn't show up, so I'm working out by myself. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I lift weights. Tuesday, Thursday, I do CrossFit. Saturday, I swing some kettlebells. So this is Monday. I'm lifting some weights. Music's going on overhead. I'm not listening to it, but it's there. It's background noise. And there's a rap song on. And I don't know the song. I don't know the singers, but there's this male voice that said, I need your love and affection. And I remember like in the moment, I'm sitting there and I don't know, I'm doing it's a push day. And I'm like, what an interesting thing for this rapper to say. I need your love and affection. And I thought it was interesting because he's a rapper, because he is in an industry where, at least as far as I view it, you are you are a man on an island, right? You are all that you need. You don't reach to others for help and assistance. And if you've been following along on this podcast in any way, shape, or form, that is 100% where I have lived a large majority of my life. I don't need you. So for this rapper to say, "I need your love and affection," I was like, "Wow, I wonder if his boys made fun of him when this song dropped." And again, I don't know if he was the the headliner, if you will, or if he was, a featured artist. But like, I wonder if his boys made fun of him. Like, bro, you you need love and affection? What? What? She's like, then they start making fun of him because that's what guys would do, right? And so I carry on my workout. And I get done, I go in the sauna, and one of my um, uh, mind shift frames of reference kind of things I picked up from a Tony Robbins seminar. It's called priming. So I'm in the sauna, and I'm like, hey, sweet, there's nobody here. And I haven't done this priming exercise for a while. I'm going to do some priming. So what it is, Google it. It's fantastic. Google it, YouTube it. It's a 14-minute thing, and it starts out with some breath work. I can't think of what it's 30 repetitions in out in out. Wim Hof breathing, I think it is. So he has you do that, and then the first thing he says is, "Now I want you to think of three things. I want you to think of three things that you are grateful for." See if I can find it here quick. Do, do, do. Think of three things that you're grateful for. And man, I couldn't think of a fucking thing. I come off this weekend that was supposed to be awesome and amazing, and how I missed it. And I think of how I feel like I let this guy down because I said I was going to do this thing and I didn't. And then I think of my wife helping this office better understand how their own mind works. And I realized like I don't know how mind works. Why can't I do this? Why like I am this successful man and I don't know how I work. I don't know what I'm grateful for. Like think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And I couldn't find one. Like I'm like, "Oh, it's in my mind like my kids. I'm grateful for my kids." And like I didn't think that was enough. Like that was an obvious one. "Oh, well, you got kids. You're grateful for them. Great fucking job. You should be grateful for them." Okay. So that wasn't uh the gratitude that I felt wasn't deep enough. And man, I couldn't think of anything. So I sat there in the sauna by myself and was just beating the shit out of myself. Just absolutely berating myself because I couldn't think of anything to be grateful for. I have got an awesome house. Wasn't good enough. I've got no student loan. Like I paid off my student loans like by myself. I got zero help from the government or Bidenomics or whatever the fuck all those campaign promises were. Um, my truck's paid off. Like I've got a beautiful wife who's extremely motivated and talented, and I've got these awesome kids. But for whatever reason, in the moment, like none of that was good enough to be grateful for, and it was really fucking weird. It was just absolutely strange to me. Um, so I get home and I'm getting ready to go to the office, and I'm wrestling with all this stuff, like the stuff that she shared with me at Taco Place the other day. That I like, okay, well, let it marinate. Like all this stuff, I am unable to let anything marinate at the moment. I am in every single aspect of my thoughts. And it's man, it's hard. It is incredibly hard because nothing that's coming to mind is good. And then so what do? I get ready and I go to the office. And then that is where everything starts to change. So, like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a 2 or a 3-parter. This was part 1. If you want to see, and I think you do, or you should, if you want to see where everything changes, catch our next episode because we're going to get into it. And I'm going to tell you right now, like just the feeling in my chest, it's going to get deep. You will 100% learn more here by accident in these next episodes than you will elsewhere by design. Right here on Fueled by Spite. Catch me on part 2.